Hey there! In this video, I'll share with you an easy way to complete a data table on atomic structure. I'm Orlando Broomfield from Chemistry Core. Let's solve this chemistry exam style question together. Thankfully, we can get much of the information that we need to complete our data table on atomic structure by looking at the element symbol. Watch this video for demonstrations with much explanation of how to draw the atomic structure of atoms, ions, and isotopes. This 3 here is in the position subscript left, which is reserved for the atomic number. So we can go right ahead and start completing our table with a 3 here under the heading atomic number. This 7 is in the superscript left position, and this position is reserved for the mass number, which has already been written in for us. We can get the number of neutrons by looking at these 2 numbers here, because mass number is the sum of the number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus of atoms. So a simple subtraction should help us to get the number of neutrons. Let's subtract the atomic number 3 from the mass number, and that gives us 4. Now, no number is written here in this position, superscript right, which tells us that this element is in the atomic state. In the atomic state, there are no overall charges, and this position is reserved for the charge on the element. Since there are no charges and protons are positively charged and electrons are negatively charged, we therefore have equal amounts of electrons and protons in this atom. So we put a 3 here. And lastly, for the electron configuration, we need to remember a simple rule that the first shell can hold a maximum of 2 electrons and the second and third shells 8. So the electron configuration of lithium with 3 electrons will be 2, 1. Let's start from the electron configuration of the second element. That is 2, 4, which tells us that the total number of electrons is 6. We can also determine the number of protons because the number of protons is the atomic number, so that's also 6. We can also get the number of neutrons by quickly subtracting the atomic number from the mass number, and that gives us 8. Now for the element symbol. A quick glance at the periodic table will help us to identify the element with atomic number 6, and that is carbon, the symbol being C. The atomic number goes in the subscript left position. The mass number goes in the superscript left position. There are no charges on this element because there are equal numbers of electrons and protons, and so this completes our second element. Now for our third element. We have here the mass number and the number of neutrons, which means we can get the number of protons, which will also be the atomic number. So 7 from 14 gives us 7, so that's pretty straightforward there. Then we have 7 in this column as well, since the atomic number is the number of protons in the nucleus. And the electron configuration will be 2 on the first shell and 5 on the second shell to give us 7 electrons in total. Again, a quick glance in the periodic table will help us to identify the element with atomic number 7, and that is nitrogen. and the symbol for nitrogen is N, the atomic number goes here in the lower position, which is 7. The mass number 14 goes above that on the same side. There are no charges, so we leave the element symbol as is. And now for sulfur. This 16 here is telling us that the atomic number is 16 and that there are 16 protons in the nucleus. We can also get the mass number by adding these two, the number of neutrons plus the number of protons, or the atomic number, or basically we can get it from here, the superscript left position, and that is 34. The number of electrons is greater than the number of protons because this number here tells us that the overall charge on the element is -2. Since electrons are negatively charged and protons are positively charged, if there are 16 protons, then there needs to be 18 electrons for the overall charge to be -2. The electron configuration, therefore, is 2, 8, 8. Starting with the electron configuration for this element, the second to last element in our table, we have 10 electrons. And as we can see, we have 11 protons because the atomic number is the number of protons. The mass number is calculated by adding the number of protons or atomic number to the number of neutrons, and that gives us 23. From the periodic table, we will recognize that the element with atomic number 11 is sodium, and the symbol for sodium is Na. The atomic number of protons goes there, the mass number goes above that, and now it's time for us to check if there is a charge on the element. We have an unequal amount of electrons and protons. We have one more proton than electrons. So that tells us that the overall charge is +1, but we will simply write a plus sign. The 1 is understood. Starting from calcium, our final element, the symbol tells us that there are 2 more protons than electrons. So the amount of electrons that we can get from looking at the electron configuration is 18. The amount of protons which we can get from the atomic number is 20. So we'll just write 20 under the atomic number column as well. The mass number is 40 as indicated by the number here in the superscript left position, and that is 40. And finally, the number of neutrons, which we can get by simply subtracting the atomic number from the mass number, and that is 20. Thank you for watching another video on solving problems in chemistry with Chemistry Core. If you were tuned in, you are now able to use atomic number, mass number, electron configuration, and the formation of ions to complete a data table on atomic structure with emphasis on the subatomic particles. Good luck on your exams, and I'll see you next time.